What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. Today we got a special video because we kind of got out of left field, out of nowhere, a special or a balance update that's going to cover both gear and units, especially Soulweavers. It kind of both ties into what Smilegate told us months ago, I think before the Awakening update or during the Awakening update, where they mentioned, you know, there was an address to the people saying we're going to work on balance, we're going to work on this and that. They talked about gear sets, they talked about balancing units via the star sign changes, and that's all going to happen in this video. So let's go over all of it. We're going to just read the patch notes together, and it's actually pretty exciting stuff that I think will shape or at least change the way the game is played quite a bit, even for new players. So stay tuned and let's get to it. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and pull up the page, and I only glanced through it briefly before. I wanted to read it fully with you guys, so let's go ahead and check out what's happening. The update on 6/23, so next week, guys, next Thursday, there are 3 improvements that will be announced with a preview. I kind of mentioned that in our little intro, but equipment set improvements, mainly destruction set, which, by the way, guys, make sure y'all pay attention, because this might mean, if you didn't know, in the past we've done a lot of, is Banshee viable as a main hunt, especially for new players that want to start on it? I think now it's definitely almost equal, if not edging out speed in some regards, or Wyvern set in some regards. So Banshee mains, get ready. World Arena Battle Frenzy adjustments, so that's real-time arena, RTA, and then Soulweaver Constellation. These two are pretty closely tied. The World Arena stuff is mainly going to be the speed adjustments, and then the Soulweaver, they're going to be getting speed alongside other buffs. So we'll look through the notes together. It's going to be a little bit confusing because they're going to be lowering the overall speed that you get. 15 speed right now is the current adjustment in World Arena. They're going to lower that from 15, I believe, to 7, but then some of the Soulweavers will get a buff as well. So even though a lot of the Soulweavers are going to get a net negative, if you just count the frenzy effect, right, 15 to 7, even if they get like a +3 speed through their constellation, it's going to be less than what they're getting right now just for RTA. For everything else, they're going to be straight up better. And on top of that, guys, a lot of us were predicting they were just going to remove this completely. So the fact that they only cut it in half and also gave a little bit of speed buffs to Soulweavers will still be very strong, especially in RTA, let alone just everywhere. So with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on and get to the meat of it. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and start with the equipment sets. So first up is the injury set, which I didn't even mention, but it's getting an interesting change. Single attacks will now be 12%, so we double for units that are just going to make use of the single attack portion. Right now, though, guys, let me know what you guys are using injury sets on. I'm assuming Bellion, of course. Maybe some of y'all are crazy enough to try it on like Seaside Bologna, Bad Cat Armin. But overall, I don't think injury is that great unless we're really talking Bellion. She's the only one that I've seen it use in the highest or higher levels of, like, especially PvP. But I don't doubt that some of y'all are trying crazy builds, maybe all-inning on injury and making it work as well. So those of you that are like playing out of the box and things like that, maybe this could be useful. Just keep in mind, guys, we're giving up a 4-set bonus. So right now, I can't really think of a single attack unit that I'm going to drop off of counter set, speed set, you know, lifesteal set to make use of injury. But I'd like to change, even if it's not super impactful, even if it's not meta, it's going to give people that like to play other things more options, which is always great. So I'm curious to see how that pans out. Make sure y'all, injury players, let me know who you're excited for, maybe thinking of trying this on, all right? The 12% single attack injury. Next up, though, we got the destruction set, and this is the big one I wanted to talk to y'all about. Crit damage getting increased to 60%, so a 20% increase. That's a 50% overall buff. That is huge, guys. I'm surprised they did this. What this is going to mean is 2 things. Number 1, all the Banshee videos, like I said in the beginning, that I've been covering, Banshee main, swapping to Banshee earlier, it's going to be very nice. Not only that, big shout out to Tundra, who kind of helped me out with the last video too. We were talking and he mentioned that crit damage. Now, I'm not a big gear score guy, number cruncher guy, but apparently this buff is so significant, it even outpaces Wyvern stats. So the reason Wyvern was king and why most people recommend it, number 1, it works on almost all units. So it's still going to be amazing. It's still going to be very good, guys. Don't trust me. Wyvern's not going anywhere because it's just so versatile, so universal. It doesn't work just for DPS units, unlike destruction set. But if we were talking about damage dealers running around 200 speed, this crit damage now is the best set for those kind of midline speed units that also want a damage deal. So Banshee got even better. I wouldn't say it's better than speed set overall, but those of you that were already planning to swap, that like counter, that like lifesteal, we got now a huge buff for destruction set, meaning our damage dealers are also going to be even better than some of the speed wyvern damage dealers, and some people will even be swapping their destruction sets, I imagine, to destruction. Their speed sets to destruction. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but overall, very, very nice. I'm looking forward to it, guys. This is huge, especially for you guys that want to try out more Banshee. All right, let's cover quickly the World Arena Battle Frenzy adjustment. I glanced at this earlier. It kind of just seems like they're going to be adding in the decreased barrier, which is nice. Smilegate really seems to be, I don't know if they found this in testing or what, but after the DJB barrier inversion buff, they're noticing barriers are maybe too strong. We got Fallen Cecilia, we got Hua Young, we got Para. And now what's going to happen is overall the Frenzy effects are going to be lessened a bit. The attack effectiveness is the same, but the attack and then the decrease on max health and healing are all going to kind of get lessened. Sorry, not the healing, just the attack and the max health. This isn't too important, guys. Most of y'all won't notice this. RTA players, though, you will notice definitely at Frenzy 3, which a lot of players will hit. Most players will never hit Frenzy 9, especially if you play more aggressive or if you cleave. But a lot of players will hit Frenzy 3, and you're going to notice a 30% decrease in barrier effectiveness, which is very, very big. Guys, Fallen Cecilia just keeps kind of getting, you know, few little nerfs here and there indirectly to her kit, so I expect her to kind of fall off a bit, and I'm going to make a night guide soon, especially focusing on A-Raz, which, by the way, this also kind of affects Raz a little bit, but typically his barrier will get procced before Frenzy 3. Yeah, kind of an interesting change, but not really what we want to focus on in this video. Okay, guys, let's get to the next juicy part besides the destruction set. Let's get this quickly out of the way. The Frenzy change is currently in effect, and this is just for World Arena, so those of you that don't play RTA, you don't really need to worry about this, but those of you that do plan to play it in the future or are playing it now, take note of especially the second part, because it's going to affect how we interpret the data below in terms of the star sign, the constellation changes for the Soulweavers. But the first part, let's get out of the way. I mentioned it earlier. The red, green, blue, when a hero is attacked by advantageous element, this is actually this is staying, and overall I could have gone either way, take it out, keep it in, but the fact that it's staying here I think is nice. It's especially nice versus the really strong red, green, blue units like Hua and Rimu, you know, fighting them. They won't do insane damage versus elements that they are being attacked by. But after that, we got the final speed of Soulweavers. This is the interesting part here, boys. 15 to 7. So we're effectively getting this removed. We're losing 8 speed for Soulweavers, but they're keeping it overall. I thought this might just get axed completely and they try a new frenzy effect, but it seems like they just want to keep Soulweavers getting a bonus of 7 still. So you're going to lose 8 speed currently if you're using Soulweavers in just real-time arena, World Arena right now, but on top of that, boys, some of the Soulweavers are going to get some speed buffs as well as other buffs. So let's go ahead and break that down. We're not going to go through probably everything here. It's overall, what I want to share with you guys is just what's going to be happening, how it's going to affect you overall. And, you know, I'll probably stop and talk about the more impactful ones here at the bottom. But star sign changes, let's go ahead and check it out. So I'll probably start by looking at the units. So Taurus, because we don't memorize, most of us here haven't memorized the signs with the character, but for Taurus we have Ray and Sinful Angelica, and they're going to be receiving a huge 7 speed buff along with a little bit more health. So that's crazy, guys, right? Effectively, they almost didn't get affected at all by this removal in just RTA, right? Losing 8 speed here, but they gained 7 here, so net negative of 1. All right, and I'm not going to break down the math for each one, but just take note of that kind of how this is going to affect you for RTA players. But if you weren't playing RTA in general, this is just a straight up 7 speed buff for your Soulweavers, for PvE, for Arena, for Guild Wars. Very, very nice. And then you get some extra health to boot too. Very cool. They're really wanting to buff the Soulweavers here, I guess, because units like Kowaric and other units, you know, are kind of doing their job, but they want to make Soulweavers, you know, back in the limelight. So next up, we got Gemini, boys, and this is going to cover, this is the big one. As you can see, I control left Amelia here to find her. But we have Diana and Amelia, who are kind of seen as the most powerful, the most meta Soulweavers after all the frenzy changes, as well as the buffs that Diana got and her EE. And I know a lot of y'all picked her up recently, Amelia, on the banners, but they're going to be getting just the 2 speed increase, you know, just 2, which is still very nice, as well as a bonus 12 12% effect resist. So straight up buffs across the board. But for RTA, right, you get 2 speed, but we lost 8 from the frenzy changes. Overall, though, still going to be amazing. And the fact that they didn't remove frenzy and they're getting buffed, I think Diana and Amelia aren't going anywhere. They'll still be very, very viable, still very powerful moving into the next RTA season, which, by the way, Valk and I got to make a end of season tier list for y'all. Okay. Next up, Cancer. We're going to go through these even faster now that we kind of covered the meta ones. But Destina, Angelica, Kazuna, AI, Shooting Star, Katie's, Doris, and yeah, her SC. They're going to be getting a 11 speed increase. And guys, that is actually huge for Destina. So Destina was already good post buff, but now, you know, her biggest weakness was that she's slow, as well as Doris and Angelica for PvE Guild Wars, and then Shooting Star, Katie's. Oh, I'm sorry. Shoot, that's the ML, not the regular fire Katie's. But still, Destina, Doris, Angelica, all getting 11 speed. Guys, that's actually crazy. Not just for RTA. Destina RTA going to be so much stronger now. 11 speed. You know, after the frenzy changes, of course, it's not as much as 11, but for everything else, that's a lot. 11 speed, boys, just in their star sign alone is crazy. I like that change a lot because that was their biggest weakness. PvE players rejoice as well. New players rejoice. Angelica is going to be even better. For Virgo here, we have Maid Chloe, Rin, and Lucy. Maid Chloe really the most seen one. I see Rin here and there, though. She's a fan favorite, kind of. They're going to be getting 4 speed increase. It looks like total after awakening to 5-star. Although, no, so I'm sorry. Maid Chloe is going to be just getting a kind of net positive 2 speed, as well as some health and defense, it looks like, overall. So, still good. Yeah, a little bit more speed as well as health and defense for Maid Chloe, Rin, and Lucy. For Libras, we have Aether. I guess I'll look at it real fast, guys. Any Aether fans out there? Aether is also going to be getting, it looks like, 11 speed total. Okay, chugging right along. Next up, we have Sagittarius. We'll see who those include, but this actually excludes 3-star hero Requiem Roar. Maybe she's getting a specialty change, or maybe it's because of her speed imprint. I'm pretty sure she has a speed imprint, but it's interesting. This is the only one they're excluding from what I glanced at. Let me know what you guys think about that. But for Tama, DJB, Blaze Dingo, Jet, and Anos, they'll be getting 3 speed, a tiny bit of attack, which is usually not very important for Soulweavers, but for Tama, some people have this weird Tama DPS build, so maybe that's kind of cool. And then straight up 12% effectiveness for especially Tamarin. For PvE guys, a lot of times you're going to want to get a lot of effectiveness to strip, you know, raid bosses, abyss bosses, whatever it might be. So that's actually a very welcome change as well. Huge buffs for things outside of RTA as well. So after that, moving along, here's the Requiem Roar. She's getting everything. I think she's getting the same attack and effectiveness increase, but just no speed. Maybe because of that speed imprint I mentioned. That's still kind of, it's interesting they would leave her out. After that, guys, we have Aquarius, which just affects Hazel and her specially changed mascot, Hazel. But she'll be getting 9 speed increase. If it says current from 6-star awakened was 95 to 104, yeah, it should be 9. Some defense, attack, and health. So very nice for Hazel fans out there. Pisces units include, oh, this is a big one, Ruel, Rowana, Blood Moon Haste, as well as the newly buffed Angelic Momo, Elson, and Sonia. They'll be receiving, let's see, red to green, about a 4 speed increase, 12% more effect resist, always very nice, and a tiny bit of defense. And yeah, that looks like that's about it, guys. Overall, remember, outside of RTA, all these changes are going to be huge. And even in RTA, some units may lose a little bit of speed, but then you get some bonus effectiveness, effect resist, whatever might have you. And the fact that we're not losing that RTA Soulweaver speed completely, is just getting reduced by, I think, 8, is going to mean Soulweavers will still stay strong. And moving forward for even things outside of RTA, Soulweavers are looking much nicer. So interesting change overall. I want to see what's next. If Smilegate maybe visits other classes and does some star sign balancing too, maybe some nerfs, guys. I don't want to say for those of you that don't want nerfs, but maybe this is a new avenue to buff as well, or alongside, you know, the big balance buff patches. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.